This is the Bates Bobcast, our weekly podcast where we take a look at the week that was in Bates athletics. My name is Aaron Morse, and this week we're gearing up for the four-team double elimination NESCAC Baseball Championships, which the Bobcats qualified for the third straight season. Plus, the rowing teams combined to take the points title at the New England Championships, and track and field both recorded top 10 performances at New England's. All that and more coming up on the Bates Bobcast. The Bates baseball team swept Bowdoin in a Saturday doubleheader, improving to 9-3 in NESCAC East play this season. It's the Bobcats' best record within the division in program history. Now the Bobcats head to Waterville to take on Williams Friday in the NESCAC tournament. First pitch is set for 2:30 p.m. After the Bobcats swept Bowdoin, the NESCAC named senior Justin Foley the conference pitcher of the week. He shut out the Polar Bears in a 7-inning complete game four-hitter in Game 1, officially clinching a playoff bid for Bates. What was your reaction when Coach told you you were going Game 1 today?
I thought that he just wanted to maybe switch it up, get a different look because no one pitched against these guys the first time we faced them. And I had a decent outing last weekend, so I felt like maybe we're just going to go with the flow here.
And as a senior, I mean, obviously, you embrace the opportunity to get another complete game and pick the team into the postseason, right?
Yeah, no, I try to thrive for this stuff. Like, I love pitching the whole game. I love the spotlight. I love the pressure. Like I said the other day, like if I could, I don't love being a reliever, but if I could come in bases loaded, no outs, I'd love that. So more pressure, the better.
What was working for you today?
Locating my fastballs and then a combination of curveball and slider.
So this team obviously keeps it pretty loose. Everyone, it seems like it's a really nice atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah, we definitely mess around a little bit. We have a good time whenever we can. So.
What does it mean to you to, for the second time in your career, to sweep Bowdoin and Colby in the same season?
I mean, we're coming from football, like they really emphasize the CBB. So I mean, it's a big deal still. It's nice to be the best team in Maine. Anytime we can come out and prove ourselves as the most dominant team around, that's what we want to do.
What are your thoughts on the NESCAC tournament coming up?
We're back for the third time, and we all have hungry stomachs because we're sick of losing the first two games. So I think things are going to be different. This bond that we have as a team this year is definitely stronger than it's been. And we have all the pieces. We got hitting, we got fielding, we got pitchers. I think we're going to do some damage.
Speaking about that, how about Christian Beal, this transfer coming in, making a big impact? What's he been like?
That was a great addition to the team. I mean, we've had a couple times we'd like just trying to field and outfield, but this kid came in, he's flying around, he's laying out, he's making every catch, he's hitting bombs, doubles, stealing bags. I mean, like, talk about a dream come true or like a Christmas present, you know?
Right. Well, any other thoughts on the season so far, and the hopes for the near future here next week?
Season's been fun. It's gone by fast. I'm really just trying to get every last drop out of it that I can. Not looking at the end, even though the end is the goal, because that's where the tournament is. But I think that we have a great shot at this tournament, and if we keep playing at the caliber of baseball we're playing right now, people should watch out for us.
Foley is on a roll, having thrown 14 consecutive scoreless innings. On offense, sophomore Christian Beal went 6 for 8 at the plate with 5 runs scored, a double, a triple, 2 RBIs, a walk, and a stolen base. He is hitting a team-leading .371 on the season. And Christian Beal is our male Bobcat of the week. Christian, let's talk a little bit about your background. First of all, growing up in Illinois, when did you start getting into baseball? You're playing t-ball like everyone else when you were a young kid, and when did you first realize, hey, I could probably play this in college?
Well, I started playing at young, 4 years old,
Yeah.
with basketball. Both started playing both of them with my uncle, my grandpa, and my dad. And my mom was part of that entire way. So growing up, baseball was spring, basketball was winter. And I couldn't wait till baseball season. I always kind of had a love for baseball more than basketball. And when I got to high school, I kind of made sure that I just want to focus on one, which is baseball. And growing up in Illinois, the weather's not always good. It's kind of similar to Maine. So I taught kind of how to play in the cold. And playing in Maine's not that big a difference than playing in Illinois. So I'm used to that.
In high school, were you thinking about playing in college, or were you just enjoying the moment playing in high school at the time?
No, I mean, college was always back on mine. I
Yeah.
wanted to play as long as I could.
Yeah.
And ever since growing up, my goal was to play college baseball, and I'm blessed enough to achieve that here at Bates, and it's been a blessing so far.
Have you always been the man patrolling center field?
No, I actually played infield my first 2 years of high school, and then my junior year I moved to outfield. And kind of as years carried on me in the outfield, I've kind of learned it. It's my fourth year now, right? Yeah, so my fourth year since playing it, and I've kind of learned kind of how to patrol different aspects of it. My first jumps got better every year. My first step, reading balls has gotten better. My speed kind of always allowed me to make up for missed jumps or missed times, jumps going for balls, but. Every year I learn more and more about the position, and I'm blessed to be able to go out there and patrol center field.
You mentioned we talked before, but you talked about how you played for Coach Martin in Europe after your senior year of high school. How'd that all happen?
Yeah, so a program called Planet Baseball. I got the chance to meet Coach Martin. We played in Europe. We went to Czech Republic, Munich, Germany, and Barcelona. So 3 different series, 3 games each, and it was just a blessing. I mean, I know a lot of kids love to do it, and when the opportunity arose, I jumped on it. So I got to I played in the state championship game in Illinois one weekend, and the next week I left to go to Europe, and it was just amazing. So I spent the entire June playing baseball, and you get to travel the world touring and playing baseball. It's honestly a beautiful dream come true.
Awesome. Now, you originally, for 1 year, went to a Division I school in Miami, Ohio. Now you're here at Bates getting to play Division III. Making that transition, you obviously mentioned you played for Coach Martin in Europe, so that was comfortable. What else influenced maybe you wanting to come to Bates?
Coach Martin played a big influence. I'm not going to deny that. But, just kind of the family aspect here. When I got to talk to the players before I came here, I wanted to be on a team where it was a family. Where everybody loved each other and wanted to be, you wanted to go to work with each other every day. And that's what we do. That's what we do here at Bates. We're excited. I know you came to practice. We're excited. We get on each other, but it's that family aspect that really was a deal breaker for me. When I met and had lunch with each of the players, which I know a lot of recruits do, that's important. Every player has a big influence on you when you step foot on campus, and then also just the surrounding, the small atmosphere, that close knit group is important to me. And again, when I came here in the fall, they welcomed me with open arms, and that was important in making the transition easy for me.
Every NESCAC school, academics are a big focus. Yeah. What's the transition been like? Because I'm not going to say from high school, but from maybe the experience at Miami and now here from an academic perspective.
It's different. It's different. A lot more essays and written work here, but I love it. Honestly, my friends helped me out if I needed help, but teachers are amazing here. Office hours are huge here, so if I have any questions, I automatically go in there and they help me out, which is, I think, a little different than Miami. I think teachers here are a little more hands on deck and willing to help out students. Not to knock me or anything like that, but just to talk about how Bates is great. So they've really helped out. I haven't really missed a beat there, and it's been honestly great there too.
We touched on this a little bit before, but you obviously, we just seen you play out there. You have great passion for the game, a lot of excitement. Right. Coach Martin has kind of said he loves that. Maybe reel it in a little bit sometimes, but how do you kind of balance that, I guess?
Honestly, it's tough to balance it because I play with the same heart, the same passion, whether it's in practice, game, no matter what. I want to take the same energy every day. But yeah, he makes me control it a little bit. We've had discussions about me controlling it. I know. I get frustrated sometimes out there. I try to keep it in the dugout so, I don't show any negative energy on the field. That's kind of one of the things that are important to me. I want to show all positive energy on the field, whether it be screaming, dancing, whatever it may be, having fun. It's all because I play hard. And I want to keep all the positive stuff in the field and all the negative stuff because it's baseball. You're going to, you fail a lot. I want to keep all the negative stuff in the dugout, in the locker, and everything like that because, it brings out. But it's not just me. I think that everybody in this team brings that passion, and that's what makes us special. That's kind of what makes us the blue-collar, hard-working team that we are, and allows us to go back to NESCAC Championships this year. Is just because we all play with that passion, we all play with that energy, and we're all that emotional team that when we're winning, it's good, and then when we're losing, we've had kind of trouble this year of letting that go, but. When right now, we play hard, and I think any team that comes in knows that they're going to get a hard-fought battle when they go against us. Is what our coach preaches every single day. So
you touched on the family aspect of Bates, and when I interviewed you before on camera, you talked about how your mom had a big influence on your passion for the game and everything. How did family influence you kind of growing up and now moving into college?
Well, I grew up in a single-parent household with my mom, and you learn a lot from that, growing up. So when you talk about passion and just attitude towards life, my mom has a big influence on that. Whether it be, you want to wake up every day with a smile on your face, and that's kind of what she told me since I was 6 years old. And whether you're in the classroom or playing baseball, you do it the right way. You do it with hard work and dedication. Nothing's given to you, and that's kind of how I approach baseball. Which is, I know you guys can see on the field, is just and nothing's given to me out there. And that's kind of what my family, especially my mom, taught me growing up. She's at almost every game. My grandpa and my mom, they switch off weekends, so they haven't really missed a beat this year. Or they're watching at home. I kind of pray before every game that I make her proud, because that's the most important thing for me, is to make my mom proud.
Awesome. So we got the double elimination NESCAC tournament coming up this weekend. What are your thoughts on this? You've only had one practice since the big sweep of Bowdoin, but it all comes down to this kind of, right?
Yeah, this is a big week for us. I know Coach Martin touched on it yesterday. This is a big week preparation for us. So, we're locked in from yesterday on through out every day of practice, making sure that we make the correct strides to prepare for Friday. That's a good team we're facing. It'll be a fast-paced baseball game because I know they can hit. I know we can hit. So I'm looking forward to it. I know that we could I think it was the max amount of games. We play like 6 games or something like that. If that's max amount of games. So we have to be prepared to play a good amount of games this weekend. Be focused every single pitch. And I think that's the biggest thing, is getting our minds mentally prepared for doing it. I know we will be, but this is why Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are such big games. We won last week and we swept them, but that's in the past. And Coach Martin does a good job of preaching, when we woke up Monday, it's a whole different ballgame. We have different goals to fill for this week. And we have to make sure that we do it, and we make strides every day to fill those goals this week.
Great. Well, any other thoughts on the season so far and what it's meant to you, your first year here on the Bates campus?
It's meant a lot to me. I mean, honestly, I didn't know, after last year, I didn't know where I would be. We haven't even played baseball anymore. I wanted to, obviously, and I made sure that I could, but, I mean, honestly, I didn't know. And to be, these last couple months here, during this spring season, and even the fall, have been special here. And I just can't thank the team, Jack, Simon, the seniors, for really welcoming, opening the arms here and bringing me part of this family, because we got a good family, and that's what allows us to win ball games. So it's just been awesome.
Awesome. Christian Beal, Male Bobcat of the Week. Thanks so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
The rowing teams combined to win the team points title at the New England Championships on Saturday, with the men finishing third out of 24 schools and the women finishing first. The men's first varsity 8 almost took home the gold medal, finishing a very close second to Wesleyan. Meanwhile, the men's second varsity 8 did claim the gold, beating runner-up Boston College by more than 2 seconds. On the women's side, all 3 varsity 8 boats won their grand finals, with the first varsity 8 winning its 5th consecutive New England title. Bates outraced runner-up WPI by nearly 7 seconds, an open water victory. The first varsity 8 is comprised of stroke senior captain Lena Rentel, junior Hannah Fitz, sophomore Sally Harris Porter, sophomore Hannah Beams, sophomore Catherine Barry Toon, junior Grace Smith, junior Emma Wheeler, and bow sophomore Grace Bake. And their coxswain, sophomore Liza Folsom, joined the Bobcast. Liza Folsom with us here on the Bobcast, women's rowing 1V, the female Bobcats of the week here after another New England title. I know coming in, obviously, you'd raced WPI previously. They'd gotten you by just a hair, and this time, though, you win by open water. What was the difference you noticed from the boat just going down, the lake there this time around?
Yeah, we were definitely a lot more ready. We hadn't been on the water when we raced them before. And so not only did we get to practice on the water, but we got to think more about our race plan and how we wanted to approach it, rather than just in our previous races when we would get on the water for the race, be on the water for 30 minutes, and then go. We had several weeks of practice this time, so that definitely made a big difference.
Did the team see it as somewhat of a statement that, Bates is still the number one here in not only New England but in the country at this point?
I mean, I think it definitely helped us feel that way, but we still haven't raced Ithaca and a couple other teams. So.
Sure.
But, yeah, it felt good.
What's the environment like at New England, maybe compared to other regattas?
It's a lot bigger compared to, President's Cup last weekend when it was just us, Colby, Bowdoin, and UMaine. But it's super exciting and makes it, much more fun to race. And it definitely... you get a little bit more stressed because of the people, and there's a big jumbotron and then awards sitting everywhere, so it makes it a little bit more stressful but also more exciting at the same time.
I saw they did the celebratory throw you in the water as a coxswain. How much do you look forward or maybe dread that?
I guess I look forward to it because of what it means, but it was so cold this time. Yeah. But it was fun.
What's the boat like? What's the 1V like this year? Obviously, you got similar rows from last year, but some new ones as well.
Yeah, we have 5 sophomores, including me, and then 2 juniors and a senior. So we're, still a young boat, but it's kind of weird not having freshmen, I guess. Obviously, I'm coming from a different perspective, not being a freshman anymore, but I don't know. It's cool that we're all a little bit older, I guess, but yeah, I don't know. It's fun. We're all like excited to go fast, and yeah, it's exciting. But I think we keep surprising ourselves by what we can do.
Well, and the one senior is Lena Rentel, right? And she's at the stroke position at this point.
Yeah.
And so I remember when she was a first year, she was at the stroke position in the 1B. So she's been doing this for a while. That must be nice to have someone like that with that experience.
Yeah, no, she's the best. Like, I can like tell her like whatever rate she needs to hit, whatever she needs to do, and she'll just do it.
So the National Invitational Rowing Championships coming up this Sunday. How do those compare to New England's, just based on your experience maybe last year and whatnot?
We found them pretty similar. The big difference for us is that Ithaca comes to this one and not New England's.
Right.
And they're really good too, but I guess like regatta-wise, they're very similar, like the same like heat and final. And
Same course, isn't it?
Yeah, same course. A lot of it's similar. It's just the club teams aren't there. So like, for example, Bowdoin won't be there this weekend, so like our 4 won't race them. But yeah, it is very similar though. It's same structure, same course, but
Is it almost a feeling of like deja vu? Like, wait, we just did this?
a little bit. I think that's because of like where it is, but
Yeah.
it's kind of comforting to have that because you did it the week before and it went well this weekend. So I think it'll help us feel more confident coming into this weekend.
So as a sophomore now, as a Coxswain, what do you learn from last year's experience that you're applying to this year in terms of what it takes to succeed at this level and whatnot?
Yeah, I think I definitely learned a lot last year, just like course-wise. And one thing that I think I've been doing more this year is like talking to the boat off the water and just like learning what to say to them and how to create like a good culture within the boat, which I'm still working on to do. But I don't know, I think this year I've also been thinking a lot more about like things off the water, not just on the water, what I'm saying in the boat.
Great. And then obviously, I talked to Peter and he said that there's about 11 rowers who could all be in that 1V. And so there's a lot of depth on this team. What's that like? Because occasionally I'm sure you'll have other people stepping into 1V, other people leaving and whatnot.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like we'll like be in practice like 3 boats across and I'll look over and the 2V or the 3V, like they look like they could be 1Vs almost. Like, yeah, it's really cool having that many people, and it definitely keeps the team competitive, but at the same time, everyone just wants to go fast no matter what happens. So.
Great. Well, any other thoughts on New England and what you're looking forward to these next 2 regattas, obviously, coming up here?
Yeah, I'm super excited. It'll be super fun, race some new people. And we've just been getting better every practice, I think, so it'll be exciting to see what we can do and how we will have improved from last weekend to this weekend.
All right, Liza Folsom, the Coxswain for the women's first varsity 8, 5th consecutive New England gold medal there. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
The men's track and field team finished 6th out of 32 teams at the New England Division III Track and Field Championships over the weekend. Sophomore John Rex finished 2nd in the hammer throw. First-year Bart Russ placed 2nd in the 3,000-meter steeplechase, and junior captain Brendan Donahue won the New England Championship in the decathlon with a career best, 6,301 points. In women's track and field, senior captain Aiden Eichhoff won the New England Championship in the 800-meter run. Senior Katie Barker placed 2nd in the 5,000 meters, and the Bobcats placed 9th out of 34 teams at New England's. Bates also took 2nd place in the 4x800 relay as first-year Mary Corcoran, senior captain Sarah Rothmann, sophomore So Kim, and Eichhoff combined on a time of 9 minutes, 15.32 seconds. The 4x800 is not an event that's held at Nationals, so this weekend's Open New England is the last chance for the Bobcats to break the program record. Rothmann, who has made her mark on and off the track during her time at Bates, joined the Bobcast this week to discuss her time here and what lies ahead.
4x8 has always been a really special event to me because it's a time where mid-distance riders can really come together and channel in an event that we can all tackle and do well with because that's what we train for. And so this weekend was no different. And it was really incredible being a part of a 4x8 where Aiden Eichhoff was the anchor, and I got to work with a freshman and a sophomore who we all trained together and we can run solid time. So it was an event that I knew that we could do well with. We just had to put the pieces there, and we were just always in the race. So it was, Mary had a very strong start. As a freshman, that was also like really impressive because being the start of a relay is no small feat. And I took the baton from her and kind of just kept in the race, and so did a fantastic job. And then just watching Aiden finish any race is pretty incredible. So that just really, it meant a lot to all do really well together and felt as though we all contributed.
Great. So you touched on, Mary Corcoran a first year, So Kim a sophomore. What are those two like? Younger athletes, and So obviously play soccer here as well.
Yeah, those athletes they're really, really great, and they're also just really willing to learn and work with us. Like I run 200s and 150s with them, and they see that that's not always my strongest interval to keep training with, but they work with me, and they just see no matter the age, we can all work together and really come together for a pretty fantastic relay. So it's just nice to kind of almost put aside the age and just really channel in our talents.
What's the experience been like being one of the captains this year?
It's been an experience I'll never forget, and it's one that I keep on learning about. It's nice that it doesn't just fall from the hours from 4:15 to 6.
Yeah.
Being a captain is just like an all-day thing, and I'm one that I'm happy to take on. I've had first years come up to me and ask about school or ask about life, and I just always feel as though like when we are able to talk about those aspects of Bates, it makes our athletics experience that much stronger. So it's really rewarding to see all those kind of parts come together.
So 4x8, I understand, not a national event, but you got a goal here, right? The school record. Where are you in terms of that?
After we finished our relay this weekend, Jay came up to us and said we were third on the list, and we're within 5 seconds of that record. And I remember Mary and we were the ones that were fresh for the 4x8, and we were kind of just joking like, oh, this could be our last race. We're kind of exhausted. But then when you're in the race and you see how close and how tangible a goal can be, it kind of drives you that much closer. So yeah, it's not a national event, but it's an event that we can still do really well and feel really proud of at the end of the day. And I think that's something that we can definitely achieve.
Well, Sarah, you're being a senior now, right? You've been involved with so much here at Bates. What's the experience been like getting your, hand into many different things outside of track and field as well? Like you're the editor-in-chief of the Bates Student, for instance.
Yeah, being editor-in-chief of the Bates Student has been an experience that my teammates have been so supportive. I remember last year I was sports editor, and at one point, all my writers were from the track team, and a lot of them are STEM majors and don't want to write, but they still write because they know I need help. So that really meant a lot to me. And like this year, just talking through articles with my team, and like if I ever had a really late night in the newsroom, people would check in with me and make sure I was getting sleep. And just for me, also like being a part of the newspaper is a chance for us to kind of write about our experiences and write through our ideas and share our stories with the Bates student body. And it's a chance for me to kind of step outside that role as a runner and as almost like a teacher, helping out students kind of learn about different talents that they didn't know that they had.
Great. Well, graduation coming up very soon, obviously. What are your thoughts right now on post-college stuff?
Yeah, so next year I'm going to be teaching English in the Czech Republic. It's a country, I don't know the language. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I'm also just know like my experiences here at Bates have prepped me in a way that I could never imagine, and that will always be grateful. So yes, it's something different, but I'm very excited for that next chapter. And it's weird thinking that this 4x8 could be my last time on the track, but I also, part of me knows that it won't be. Like I'll be able to find a way to kind of continue running, continue establishing that team, even if I am abroad in a country where I don't speak the language. I can use running as a way to establish that community that I've kind of grown to love here at Bates.
So teaching English in a country where you don't speak their language, how does that go? How do you do that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'm going to have a mentor who speaks English. She's going to kind of guide me through that process. And my class, they do know English. They're 11 to 19-year-olds, so they do know the language. And it's going to be a matter of me kind of just taking that step and being honest with my students, saying that I'm learning this along with you. And I think from the get-go, establishing that trust and that understanding will make that experience that much, not easier, but more manageable and more something that I can kind of dive into with more flexibility and openness to kind of keep learning and growing. So I think it'll be exciting.
Awesome. And then, looking back at your experience at Bates so far, what are some classes that have really stood out to you that have really made an impact, you think?
Definitely, this goes back to my freshman year, but I took a journalism course with practitioner Peter Moore, and that class, like at Bates here, we don't have a journalism major, but that class he brought in guest speakers from Sports Illustrated and Men's Health, and I learned how to write on deadline every single day. It was exhausting, but it was also really rewarding, and I really got to speak to students that I would have never had a chance to meet and really hear their stories and write them down. And I really just, that class taught me to take other courses where I would necessarily be able to step outside my comfort zone Another class is last short term. I went to London and studied Shakespeare, and that's an experience that I'll never forget and one that I'll always value and see as an opportunity for me to keep on growing and taking risks. I studied Shakespeare at the Globe in London. Like, it was crazy. And then my classroom was the British Museum, and it's just an experience that I wouldn't necessarily have been able to have at another institution, and one that I'll always value.
Terrific. It seems like you might be someone who might be able to coach track down the road. Is that something you've thought about?
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely, like, even just as I was saying, this is my 24th season of running. I've been running cross country and track since my freshman year of high school, and I feel like as though I know the sport, and I do love teaching, and I love how running has kind of always been that rock for me in my educational experiences, and one that I want to make the rock for my students. So coaching is something I want to keep learning about, and I think that's something that I can do next year abroad with my students and kind of establish that trust of them and show them an aspect of life outside of the classroom where we can kind of get to know each other and have physical goals that we can reach together. So yes, coaching is something I want to pursue.
Awesome. Well, Sarah Rothmann competing in the 4x800 at the Open New England this weekend, trying to set that school record. Wish you the best of luck, and thanks so much for running the Bobcats. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
After beating UMaine Farmington 12-0 on Wednesday, the Bates softball team fell to number 2 nationally ranked Williams in the NESCAC quarterfinals on Friday and into Saturday morning by a score of 6-2. The game was suspended on account of darkness Friday night and resumed the following day. Bates went toe-to-toe with the Eves before 6 unearned runs crossed the plate in the bottom of the 5th. Head coach McKell Barnes looks back on the season. Coach Barnes, first of all, the team obviously kind of a rough start down there in Florida, but it seems like bounced back really throughout the rest of the season, kind of came together, a young team. What were your overall thoughts about the way this team eventually, came together and really, produced another solid season for Bates?
Yeah, we knew going into the season that we were super young, and there are always going to be question marks on how fast can, the first years transition to college softball, and how fast can they acclimate, and so we knew that there were going to be question marks. And I think down in Florida, we had a couple tough losses to kick off our season, and I think that potentially could have shaken some confidence, and that's why we saw, the 3-9 record down in Florida. Now, with that all being said, we purposefully scheduled a much tougher Florida schedule to help prep us for our, our NESCAC weekends. So we knew going down that it was going to be more difficult. I certainly don't think that our 3-9 record down in Florida was in any way indicative of what kind of team that we were. And I think, going through some of those growing pains really did help prep us for some tough conference play where, we had some tough losses and we had some great wins. And, certainly having that experience was really, really beneficial. But I could not be more proud of this team, being as young as we are, and having the leadership that we did have, albeit 3 total upperclassmen between the junior and senior class combined. We put together a good season, and I really just think that we just scratched the surface of what's to come.
Well, speaking of that, you look at the NESCAC tournament game, right? Williams, that was the number 2 team in the country, at least ranked wise in the polls. So obviously, and the team was neck and neck with them for most of the game, right?
Yeah, this is the second time that I really feel strongly like we outplayed Williams. We had a tough 2-1 loss in regular season. They walked off in the bottom of the 7th inning there. And we played them hard this past Saturday morning. Yeah. We had 1 inning get away from us, and that happened to be the difference maker. And I think, being, we had some tough plays there that I think, we would obviously like back, but I also think that above all else, those will be plays that our team, especially the youth in our team, can learn from, and they won't make those same mistakes again. And so it's kind of one of those things, never deprive yourself of learning things the hard way. And I think playing Williams, number 2 in the country, ranked neck and neck, and going 0-0 into the 5th with 2 outs, we get the 3rd out, have a tough catcher's interference call that started, the little bit of the down spiral there. Was a tough way to close out that game, but could not be more proud. We were delayed, so we had to come back Saturday morning, and we shut them down defensively. Eliza McNulty hits a bomb to center field. we take that day, those 2 innings, and win that day 2-0. Ended up being overall, a 6-2 loss. But holy smokes, I mean, I certainly think we had them very nervous, and I think everyone was kind of rooting for us to really put it to them.
Well, how about Eliza McNulty coming on strong there late, a couple of home runs to close out the season, right?
Yeah, I think she finished the season, I know she went 3 for 3 against UMF, went 2 for 2, and then a walk against Williams. Puts together some really great at-bats against Bowdoin and Trinity. That's just a testament to the work that she was able to put in. I think short-term gives us a little bit more flexibility where we can get some more individual work in, and her confidence was glowing, and it was evident, and she took that up to bat with her, and what a way to finish the season.
Right, and well, you obviously NESCAC rules Division III NCAA, you can't really work with the players over the off-season, so what do you tell them what to do over the summer? Like, what's the guidance here to make sure, the strong finish of the season for many of them will carry over, a little less than a year from now, I guess? For
sure. Obviously that's a massive challenge, not being able to work with them. And with that being said, couple the lack of coaching that we are, that we're tied to, couple that with their youth, that I think played a part in our early season struggles. But I really think that they got a taste of how successful that they can be. And I think that intrinsic motivation in of itself will be, their guide to want to work hard over the summer, knowing that you can't go 4 months without swinging a bat and expect to pick it back up and pick up right where you left off. It just doesn't work that way. So I know a lot of them are playing summer ball, travel ball, whether it's a 23U team, 3-4 pickup tournaments. That's plenty. They've got great internships that they need to be focused on. And, we're hoping to put together, not hoping, but we are putting together a hitting program for them this summer, and just hopefully making it easy for them to get some swings in and to isolate a few areas of focus that we really saw as a common theme as our team. And I think they're going to come back. And they've already said, Coach, can it be February 15th, 2020 yet? We're ready. We know we don't want this break, but unfortunately we have to take it.
Well, the lone graduating senior there, Dre Russo, had her senior day the past weekend, which before the tournament, which was kind of encapsulated the season there a little bit, right? Because they had also the schedule changes and had a dramatic win, a heartbreaking loss. That was a crazy weekend also, wasn't it?
Holy, yes. A couple heartbreaking losses. Yeah. We had Bowdoin in two out of the 3 games, and unfortunately let that those wins slip away, and that determined a different playoff seeding than what we easily could have had otherwise. Dre had a great weekend. I think Dre had a great finish to her career, and I think hopefully she is proud of the mark that she left. I know certainly we are, and like I said, I think we're really just scratching the surface, and Dre was really a catalyst in that. So we're lucky. We were lucky to have Dre, and I know that her legacy is a great one, and we're looking to build off of that and continue building the program into a much more successful NESCAC program.
One of the upperclassmen, Julia Panapinto, started showing a little more power as well, right? That's natural because she's obviously a year-round athlete who just puts in the work, doesn't she?
I don't think that there's a stronger female athlete on campus. Julia she has a natural gift and power, and so sometimes it's trying to get her to not do too much, because if she truly just makes the slightest contact with the ball, she's going to hit it hard. So I think as the season progressed, we were able to work with her a little bit more, and it's all, there's so much that goes on between the ears too, right? And to try to manage that mindset with not trying to do too much and hit the ball hard and da-da-da-da-da. We really saw Julia come together, and she certainly has a lot of power. And I think, the more consistent that we can get her to get her timing down and mechanically just have good distribution of her weight, so on and so forth, she'll continue that power in, I think, a much more consistent manner next year.
Well, in this season, you asked KP, Kirsten Pelletier, to do more than probably she's ever had to do before, right? Pitching both halves of double headers and whatnot. Maybe ideally you wouldn't have to ask her to do that, but she certainly did and did it well, didn't she?
Yeah, anything that we threw at KP, she took on and she shouldered. And, She threw more innings than any other pitcher in the NESCAC, had more strikeouts than any other pitcher in the NESCAC, lowered her ERA to under 2. The first thing she said to me after our Williams game was, "Coach, next year I want to lower it to under 1." And I'm like, okay, let's let's just take, a deep breath and reflect on how tremendous of a season she just had. And I think sometimes it's easy to lose that perspective because we're so used to her just coming in and shutting down other teams and hitting big pitches and big spots. But, truly what she's done for us has been nothing short of remarkable. And she's put in so much work, and we are so lucky to have her.
Awesome. Well, to wrap things up, any other thoughts on the season as a whole and what it's going to take to for the team, for the program to make that next step?
Yeah, just thinking back and reflecting on, we finished 15-21, and nearly half, if not a little over half of our losses came by one run or a walk-off in the bottom of the 7th inning or in extra innings. And so we were right on the cusp. And again, I think, you think back to 15-21, well, we weren't over 500. But again, the combination of our youth and the combination of that with some really, really tough losses against some really, really good teams, that experience that we now have, I feel strongly is going to be what propels us into taking that next step where, we win those tough games. We don't give away leads in the 7th or 8th inning or whatever it is, And so to think back and say, like, holy smokes, nearly half of our losses came under that fashion. Like, yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow, but that's also really, really encouraging as well. So we're right there. Like I said, we unfortunately have to take this break. We wish we didn't have to, but I know they're ready to get right back to it. So it's been exciting, and I'm super proud of them.
All right, McKell Barnes, thanks so much.
Thanks, Aaron.
Next time on the Bates Bobcast, we'll recap the NESCAC Baseball Championships, the National Invitational Rowing Championships, and more. Plus, a look at Cold Front. The Bates women's ultimate team is headed to nationals for the 4th straight year, led by their sensational senior, Josie Gillette. That's next time on the Bates Bobcast.
Bates, Bates.